The vastness of space stretched endlessly beyond the bridge windows of the dauntless Sparrow. Captain Hyun-soo stood with a straight posture, scanning the stars as the small human warship glided among massive alien vessels. The ship was tiny compared to the towering cruisers and sleek destroyers of the Galactic Council fleet. Every alien officer aboard nearby looked at the human crew with mild amusement, expecting little from them. Hyun-soo knew they were wrong. Humans had a way of turning weakness into strength, and he believed in his team. Lieutenant Jiwon adjusted the ship's sensors, her hands moving over the control panels with precision. She was young but brilliant, capable of interpreting alien data with ease. Even with the weakest ship, her mind could make it feel powerful. Beside her, Engineer Daeho worked on modifying the energy cores, carefully rerouting power through the outdated systems. His eyes were bright with determination, knowing that even this small ship could survive if used cleverly. "Captain," Jiwon said, "the enemy scouts are scanning us. They expect us to fall behind." Hyun-soo gave a small nod. "Then we will give them a show they will never forget. Prepare the ship for maneuvers. Keep the systems at maximum efficiency." The human crew moved like a well-oiled machine. They were not the fastest or the strongest, but they were smart and brave. Aliens nearby whispered among themselves, confident that the humans would fail. The humans didn't mind. Their focus was on strategy, not on others' opinions. As the fleet approached the contested sector, Hyun-soo looked at his crew. "Remember, we are small, but we are humans. We adapt, we survive, and we fight like no one else." Daeho grinned. "Then let's show them what Earth can do." The first test came quickly. A scout drone from an enemy faction appeared on the sensors, moving fast and scanning aggressively. The other ships hesitated, expecting the humans to fall behind. Jiwon quickly calculated the trajectory and launched a small energy pulse that disabled the drone. The aliens were silent for a moment, watching the unexpected success. "Not bad for a weak ship," one alien muttered under its breath, but the words were tinged with disbelief. Hyun-soo didn't let their reactions distract him. He focused on the mission. The dauntless Sparrow, though small, had an advantage. It could move in ways larger ships could not. The humans used this skill to weave through asteroids and debris, avoiding the attention of larger enemy forces while observing their positions. Hours passed as the humans performed reconnaissance. They gathered data that even some advanced ships could not detect. Jiwon transmitted the findings to the fleet, revealing hidden enemy movements. The council officers were surprised but remained skeptical of what the humans could achieve in combat. They underestimated them still. When the first real encounter began, it was chaos. Enemy fighters appeared from multiple directions, aiming to overwhelm the human ship. Hyun-soo calmly gave orders, directing Daeho to reroute power to the engines and shields. Jiwon launched countermeasures, creating small holographic decoys to confuse the attackers. The dauntless Sparrow dodged missiles and energy blasts, moving unpredictably. Every human action was precise, calculated to conserve energy while maximizing effect. Small alien ships attempted to strike, but the human team worked together seamlessly. They disabled 2 enemy fighters with well-timed energy pulses, earning a surprised glance from a nearby alien cruiser. Hyun-soo knew this was only the beginning. The enemy would not give them an easy fight, but he had faith. Humans were underestimated not because they were weak but because no one could predict what they would do when pushed to the edge. Every maneuver, every improvised strategy was a testament to human ingenuity. Night fell across the distant stars as the fleet rested in orbit near a neutral planet. Hyun-soo gathered the crew in the small mess area. "We have done well today," he said. "But tomorrow it will be harder. The enemies will recognize we are not weak. We must be ready." Jiwon nodded. "Our sensors are already mapping potential threats. We can anticipate their movements." Daeho added, "And our engines can handle more power than they think. We just need to be smart." The humans shared a quiet moment, knowing that every action mattered. In a galaxy filled with powerful alien civilizations, they were small, but that was never a limitation. It was a challenge, one they would meet with courage, strategy, and unity. As the ship's lights dimmed for the night cycle, Hyun-soo looked out at the stars. Earth was far away, a tiny blue dot, but the human spirit was not. No matter how weak their ship seemed, no matter how much the aliens underestimated them, humans had a way of turning any situation to their advantage. The journey ahead was dangerous, but the crew of the dauntless Sparrow was ready. They were not just a weak warship in a great fleet. They were humans, and humans had a way of rewriting reality itself. With determination in their hearts and clever minds guiding every move, they would face the challenges of the galaxy and prove that even the smallest ship could change the course of history. The following morning, the dauntless Sparrow moved cautiously through the outer edge of the contested sector. Captain Hyun-soo scanned the horizon, his eyes sharp as he assessed the strange formation of alien ships ahead. The Council fleet was moving in lines, massive cruisers dominating the space. The human small ship could easily be swallowed by the scale of the war around them. Yet Hyun-soo knew that size was not the only advantage in battle. Lieutenant Jaewon worked rapidly at the controls, analyzing sensor data and enemy positions. Her fingers danced over the panels as she highlighted weaknesses in the enemy formation. "Captain," she said, "there is a gap in their patrol patterns. We can slip through unnoticed if we move carefully." Hyun-soo nodded, his mind calculating every possibility. "Prepare the engines for precision maneuvers. Daeho, make sure the shields are optimized for rapid movement. If we are discovered, we need every advantage we can get." Engineer Daeho tightened connections on the main energy core and rerouted additional power to the propulsion system. The small ship would have to rely on speed and agility rather than brute strength. The dauntless Sparrow was not meant to fight large fleets head-on, but humans had a way of using their environment to fight smartly. Suddenly, the sensors picked up movement. Enemy fighters were approaching from the asteroid field ahead. Small, fast, and aggressive, they intended to harass and eliminate the human vessel quickly. The aliens assumed the humans would panic, that the weak ship would be destroyed within moments. They were wrong. Hyun-soo calmly gave orders: evasive maneuvers. Jaewon project holographic decoys to confuse their targeting. Daeho, reroute all available power to shields. We will not be easy prey. The dauntless Sparrow darted through the asteroid field, weaving around massive rocks and using the terrain as cover. Jaewon launched holographic decoys, small images of the ship appearing all around to make it hard for the enemy fighters to aim. Two of the approaching fighters collided while trying to lock on, giving the humans a slight advantage. "They underestimated us," Daeho said, eyes bright with a mix of fear and excitement. "They think we're weak because of our ship, but we are smarter." Hyun-soo nodded. "That is exactly why we will survive. Stay sharp. Every move counts." The humans used the ship's speed to outmaneuver the enemy fighters. Small energy pulses were fired, precise and effective, disabling two more ships before they could even target the Sparrow. The aliens aboard the larger vessels began to take notice. Their whispers turned to murmurs of concern, but they still underestimated the humans' true capability. As the day progressed, the human crew mapped enemy positions, sending reports to the Council fleet. Their findings revealed weak points and potential ambush locations that even the advanced alien sensors had not detected. Hyun-soo realized that this information could shift the tide of battle for the entire fleet. Around midday, a message came from the Council flagship. "Captain Hyun-soo, reconnaissance report acknowledged. Proceed with caution, but be prepared for engagement." The words were polite but filled with doubt. The Council still saw humans as minor participants, but Hyun-soo knew differently. The first major engagement began when a group of enemy warships emerged from behind an asteroid belt, their weapons aimed at the fleet. The larger Council ships moved to intercept them, leaving the dauntless Sparrow to monitor the flanks. The humans were small, but their agility allowed them to navigate where bigger ships could not. Jaewon pointed at the screens. "There is a weak point in the formation. If we can disable the lead ship, the others will be thrown into confusion." Hyun-soo's eyes narrowed. "Then we do exactly that. Prepare for a targeted strike. Timing and precision are our weapons." Daeho adjusted the energy focus, concentrating all available power into the primary laser cannon. The ship trembled slightly as it prepared for the attack. With calculated speed, the Sparrow moved in an unpredictable path, dodging enemy fire. The humans worked together in perfect synchronization. Jaiwan manipulated the sensors, Daeho controlled the energy flow, and Hyun-Soo directed the maneuvers. The lead alien warship fired, but the human ship twisted and turned, avoiding destruction by mere meters. Then, in a perfect strike, the laser cannon hit a critical system, causing the lead ship to lose power. The enemy formation faltered. Ships collided as they tried to adjust, giving the Council fleet a chance to strike back. The humans had done what the aliens did not expect. They had turned a small ship into a key factor in the battle. Hyun-Soo allowed a small smile. They will think twice before underestimating us again. Jaiwan and Daeho nodded, exhausted but exhilarated. Every human on board knew they were changing the perception of their species in this galaxy. Even as the battle continued, the dauntless Sparrow performed reconnaissance, guiding larger ships to weak points. Human ingenuity was shaping the outcome of the fight. The aliens who had mocked them before were now wary. Some whispered that perhaps humans were not just small, weak participants but strategic threats in their own right. As the engagement drew to a temporary pause, Hyun-Soo addressed the crew. "We have done well today, but the enemy will adapt. They will expect us to repeat our tactics. We must keep changing, keep moving, and never let them predict our next steps. This is the only way humans survive among stronger fleets." Daeho tightened his hands around the tools, ready for more adjustments. "We can make the ship faster and stronger. We just need time and clever thinking." Jaiwan nodded, eyes glued to the screens. "We are ready for whatever comes next. The Council may doubt us, but we will prove that humans are a force to be reckoned with." Hyun-Soo looked at the stars beyond the viewport, feeling the weight of responsibility, but also the thrill of possibility. Earth was far away, but every human on board carried a piece of it in their hearts. They were small, yes, but that would never stop them from making a difference. With courage, intelligence, and teamwork, humans could turn even the weakest ship into a weapon that rewrote the rules of the galaxy. The dauntless Sparrow moved forward, invisible to many yet powerful in its potential. In the vast expanse of space, humans had begun to leave their mark. The first skirmish had been won, but countless battles awaited. The crew was ready, knowing that even in the shadow of massive fleets and powerful alien technology, they could survive, fight, and change the course of war with nothing but determination and clever minds. The dauntless Sparrow moved silently through the outer sector of the galaxy, its small frame a stark contrast to the enormous warships that surrounded it. Captain Hyun-Soo stood on the bridge, his eyes scanning the enemy lines. He could feel the tension rising among the crew, but he knew that humans thrived under pressure. This was where they were strongest. Lieutenant Jaiwan worked at the sensor array, her focus absolute. She tracked enemy movements and plotted possible escape routes and attack points. "Captain," she said, "the enemy is forming a coordinated attack. They aim to surround us and force a surrender." Hyun-Soo clenched his jaw but stayed calm. "We will not surrender. Daeho, rear out all possible power to shields and maneuvering thrusters. We will turn their plan against them." Engineer Daeho moved quickly through the engine room, checking energy flows and making small modifications that would give the ship more speed and agility. Every system on the dauntless Sparrow was pushed to its limits, but the humans knew how to make even a weak ship feel unstoppable. The enemy ships began to close in, their weapons glowing with deadly intent. Hyun-Soo issued orders with precision. "Engage evasive maneuvers. Jaiwan, deploy holographic decoys. Daeho, prepare countermeasures. We will confuse them and strike at the right moment." The Sparrow weaved through space like a dart, its small size making it hard to target. Enemy fire passed close enough to shake the ship, but it held steady. Jaiwan's decoys created illusions of multiple ships, splitting the enemy's attention. Daeho activated energy bursts that temporarily blinded the attacking vessel's sensors, giving the humans a chance to strike back. Hyun-Soo grinned slightly. "Now we strike. Focus on their command ship. Disable it, and the others will lose coordination." The crew worked as one. Jaiwan calculated the perfect trajectory for the attack while Daeho adjusted the laser cannon's energy output. The Sparrow darted between enemy fire, dodging with precise movements that larger ships could never match. In a swift strike, the laser cannon hit the command ship's critical systems. Alarms blared, and the enemy formation faltered. The Council fleet watched in amazement. Even the aliens who had doubted humans now whispered among themselves, unsure of what they were seeing. The Sparrow, so small and underestimated, had disrupted the enemy's carefully planned assault. The enemy attempted to recover, launching more fighters to chase the humans. But Hyun-Soo had anticipated this. "Use the asteroid field ahead," he ordered. The Sparrow slipped into the dense field, weaving between rocks and debris. Enemy fighters struggled to follow, colliding with obstacles or wasting time trying to target the elusive ship. Jaiwan smiled as she monitored their progress. "They can't hit us in here. We're too small and fast," Daeho added. "And our lasers can reach out far enough to take down the nearest fighters without exposing ourselves too much." The humans picked off enemy fighters one by one, each successful strike reducing the enemy's confidence. The Council officers aboard the larger ships could no longer deny the human skill. Every movement, every decision by the crew of the Sparrow was smart, deliberate, and effective. They were not strong because of their weapons, but because of their minds and teamwork. Hyun-Soo's voice remained calm yet commanding. "We cannot stop now. We need to push further and gather more intelligence. Observe the enemy's weaknesses and report back to the fleet. Every piece of information matters." The crew continued their mission, navigating the treacherous battlefield with skill. They observed patterns, identified weak points in enemy formations, and transmitted this data to the Council fleet. Thanks to their intelligence, the larger ships could adjust their positions and strike with more efficiency. The day wore on with constant engagement. Small skirmishes erupted around the Sparrow as it moved through the chaos. Each encounter tested the humans' resolve and skill. They were tired, but determination drove them forward. Every alien ship that tried to overwhelm them failed because the crew of the Sparrow thought faster and moved smarter. At one point, an enemy frigate appeared, larger and stronger than the fighters they had faced before. It opened fire, energy blasts shaking the human ship. Hyun-Soo's heart pounded, but he kept his composure. Jaiwan, calculate their blind spots. Daeho, prepare a concentrated energy burst. We hit where they are weakest. The Sparrow darted around the frigate, its movements unpredictable. Jaiwan's calculations guided every turn. Daeho channeled all available energy into a single, precise shot. The beam struck the frigate's control systems, causing chaos and confusion. The larger enemy ship spun helplessly before retreating. The humans had done what no one expected. They had turned a weak, small ship into a decisive instrument on the battlefield. Even the Council fleet began to rely on their reports, following the humans' guidance to strike at the enemy's vulnerable points. As night fell across the distant stars, Hyun-Soo gathered the crew in the small mess area. "Today, we showed them that humans are not weak. But tomorrow will bring more challenges. We must stay sharp, stay clever, and never be predictable." Daeho nodded, tired but determined. "We can modify the ship further, make it even more agile and dangerous," Jaiwan added, "and we will continue to outsmart the enemy. They will never expect what we do next." Hyun-Soo looked out at the endless galaxy, knowing the path ahead would be dangerous but thrilling. Earth was far away, but its spirit was present in every human on board. They were small, yes, but that would not stop them. With courage, intelligence, and teamwork, they could turn even the weakest warship into a force that could change the course of galactic war. The dauntless Sparrow moved forward into the unknown, unseen by many but powerful in its potential. Humans had begun to make their mark in the galaxy. Every move, every decision, every strike was proof that even in the shadow of mighty alien fleets, humans could survive, fight, and triumph with nothing but determination and clever minds. The battle was far from over, but the crew of the Sparrow had proven that no one should ever underestimate the smallest of ships or the people who sailed them. The Council fleet gathered in a distant region of the galaxy to evaluate the humans' performance. Captain Hyun-soo watched from the bridge of the Dauntless Sparrow as massive alien ships formed around them. The humans had proven themselves in earlier skirmishes, but the Council still debated whether humans were a real asset or a dangerous wildcard. Lieutenant Jaiwon worked tirelessly at the sensor controls, tracking enemy activity in nearby sectors. Her mind raced with calculations, anticipating movements and potential threats. "Captain," she said, "the enemy is planning a coordinated strike. Their superweapons could destroy multiple fleet positions if we do not act first." Hyunsu's expression remained calm. "Then we need to move quickly and precisely. Daeho, make sure the ship is prepared for maximum output. If we strike first, we can disrupt their plans." Engineer Daeho adjusted energy flows and rerouted power to the weapons and shields. The small ship was pushed beyond its limits, but the crew had learned to use every advantage. Even a weak warship could become powerful if it was controlled by humans. The council officers watched nervously as the humans prepared for the engagement. Some whispered that the humans might be reckless, but Hyun-soo knew they were careful and deliberate. Humans did not rely on raw strength. They relied on intelligence, teamwork, and creativity. The enemy fleet moved into position, their ships glowing with energy weapons ready to fire. Hyun-soo issued commands calmly. "Deploy decoys and move to high-speed evasive patterns." Jaiwon, scan for weak points in their formation. Daeho, ready the laser cannons and energy bursts. The Sparrow darted through space with remarkable agility. Enemy fire passed close, shaking the ship slightly, but the humans remained focused. Jaiwon projected holographic duplicates of the ship, confusing enemy targeting systems. Daeho used precise energy pulses to disable approaching fighters before they could attack. Hyun-soo spotted the enemy command ship, larger and more heavily armed than any the humans had faced before. "We strike at the command ship, hit the power systems and create confusion. The rest will follow." The crew worked in perfect coordination. Jaiwon calculated trajectories while Daeho focused energy into the main weapon. The Sparrow moved in and out of enemy fire, striking at the critical points of the command ship. Alarms blared across the enemy formation, and chaos spread through their fleet. The Council fleet watched in awe. Even the most skeptical aliens whispered to each other, unsure of how a small human ship could cause so much disruption. Humans had proven that intelligence and strategy could surpass sheer size and firepower. The enemy attempted to reorganize, sending multiple ships to capture the Sparrow. But Hyun-soo had predicted this. "Move into the asteroid field ahead," he ordered. The small ship weaved through rocks and debris, difficult to target and nearly impossible to hit. Enemy fighters struggled to follow, crashing or being forced to retreat. Jaiwon monitored every movement, noting weaknesses in the enemy fleet. "We can guide the Council ships to strike here and here," she said, highlighting targets that would maximize damage. The larger ships followed the humans' guidance, attacking enemy vulnerabilities with precision. Daeho grinned as he fired concentrated energy pulses at approaching enemy vessels. "They thought we were weak. Now they see how dangerous humans can be." Hyun-soo allowed himself a small smile. "This is only the beginning. The enemy will learn that humans cannot be predicted. Our strength is in our mind and teamwork, not in the size of our ship." Throughout the engagement, the Sparrow moved with intelligence and agility. The humans gathered critical data on enemy movements, weapon ranges, and weak points. Every piece of information was sent to the Council fleet, enabling them to strike with greater accuracy and confidence. As the battle began to settle, Hyun-soo gathered his crew in the small mess area. "The Council may have doubted us before, but they cannot now. We have shown that humans can face the strongest fleets and still succeed. We must remain vigilant. The next challenge will be harder, but we will face it as we always do, with courage and intelligence." Jaiwon nodded, exhausted but proud. "We can anticipate their next move and prepare accordingly. They will not surprise us." Daeho added, "And our ship can handle more power than they know. We are ready for anything." Hyun-soo looked out at the endless stars, feeling the weight of responsibility but also pride in his crew. Earth was far away, But the human spirit was alive in every member of the Sparrow. They had proven that even the smallest warship could make a difference, and that humans could reshape the outcome of a galactic war. The dauntless Sparrow moved forward into the unknown, unseen by many but powerful in its potential. Humans had begun to leave their mark on the galaxy. Every decision, every action, every battle demonstrated that even in the shadow of mighty alien fleets, humans could survive, fight, and triumph with determination and clever minds. The Council now understood that humans were no longer to be underestimated, and the path ahead promised even greater challenges and victories. The final battle began as the dauntless Sparrow approached the heart of the enemy fleet. Captain Hyun-soo stood on the bridge, his eyes scanning the vast formation of alien warships. The humans had proven themselves in previous skirmishes, but this was the ultimate test. The enemy had amassed every available ship, and their superweapons glowed ominously, ready to destroy entire fleets. Lieutenant Jaiwon studied the sensors, her mind racing with calculations. "Captain, the enemy formation is heavily defended, but I have identified a weak path through their lines. We can reach their command ship undetected if we move carefully." Hyun-soo nodded, a calm determination in his expression. "Prepare the Sparrow for maximum speed and agility. Daeho, reroute all available power to engines and shields. We must strike first and strike hard." Engineer Daeho moved quickly, checking every system and making small adjustments to give the ship an edge. The Sparrow was small and weak by design, but in the hands of humans, it could become unstoppable. Every member of the crew knew their roles, and they worked together with precise coordination. As the human ship moved forward, enemy fighters detected them and opened fire. Hyun-soo remained composed. Evasive maneuvers. Jaiwon, deploy holographic decoys. Daeho, activate countermeasures. We will confuse them and move through. The Sparrow darted through the hail of energy blasts, using the asteroid field and debris as cover. Jaiwon's decoys created illusions that split the enemy's focus, while Daeho's energy pulses disabled fighters attempting to target them directly. The human strategy was not brute force but precision, speed, and clever use of their environment. The enemy command ship loomed ahead, massive and powerful. Hyun-soo gave orders with quiet authority. Target their power core. Disrupt their systems and create chaos. The rest of their fleet will follow. The crew worked in perfect synchronization. Jaiwon calculated the trajectory, Daeho focused the energy flow into the main cannon, and Hyun-soo directed the Sparrow through unpredictable movements. The laser beams struck the enemy command ship's critical systems, causing alarms to sound and confusion to ripple through the fleet. Enemy ships fired blindly, trying to regain control, but the humans had anticipated their reactions. The Sparrow weaved in and out of enemy fire, its small size making it nearly impossible to hit. Every move was calculated, every strike precise. The alien fleet had never seen tactics like this from such a small ship. The Council fleet observed from a distance, awe and disbelief in their eyes. Humans had not only survived but had turned the tide of battle in ways no one thought possible. The enemy, once confident in their overwhelming power, was thrown into chaos. Hyun-soo directed the Sparrow to guide the Council ships toward weak points in the enemy formation. Jaiwon relayed precise coordinates, and Daeho prepared additional energy bursts. The humans' intelligence and strategy now became the backbone of the larger fleet's success. Small skirmishes erupted around the Sparrow as enemy fighters tried to regroup. Each engagement tested the crew's skill and resolve. They moved with intelligence and teamwork, picking off enemies and gathering data to ensure the Council fleet could strike effectively. At one point, a massive superweapon appeared, its energy ready to annihilate entire sections of the fleet. Hyun-soo's eyes narrowed. "We must neutralize it. Jaiwon, find the weak link. Daeho, prepare a focused energy strike. We disable it, or countless lives will be lost." The Sparrow maneuvered through the battlefield with precision. Jaiwon identified the weapon's vulnerable points, and Daeho concentrated the ship's energy into a single devastating shot. The beam struck the superweapon, causing it to overload and explode in a brilliant flash. The enemy fleet faltered, panic spreading among their ranks. The humans had done what no one expected. They had turned a weak, small ship into a decisive instrument on the battlefield. Even the most experienced alien officers could not believe the result. Humans, underestimated at every turn, were now leading the fight. As the battle continued, the Sparrow coordinated with Council ships to strike at remaining enemy positions. The humans' intelligence, strategy, and courage inspired the larger fleet. Together, they dismantled the enemy's formation, disabling warships and forcing a retreat. Hyunsoo gathered the crew in the mess area after the engagement. "We have done the impossible. The enemy has been pushed back, and we have shown the galaxy the power of humans. But we must remain vigilant. The war is not over, and our strength comes from intelligence, teamwork, and courage." Jaiwan smiled, exhausted but proud. "We have proven that humans can think faster, adapt better, and fight smarter than anyone expected." Daeho added, "And our ship, though small, became a weapon of strategy. We can take on challenges others thought impossible." Hyunsoo looked out at the stars, feeling the weight of responsibility but also pride in his crew. Earth was far away, but its spirit lived in every human on the Sparrow. They had proven that even the smallest warship could change the course of a galactic war, that humans could rewrite reality with determination and clever minds. The dauntless Sparrow moved forward, victorious yet ready for the challenges ahead. Humans had earned their place in the galaxy, respected and feared for their ingenuity and bravery. Every battle had shown that humans could survive, fight, and triumph where others failed. The galaxy had witnessed the rise of a species that would not be underestimated. A species that could take even the weakest ship and turn it into a force that could rewrite the rules of war.